was just talking to Kenny Walker. We were talking about McCoachin, honestly.
Oh, nice.
Just he's the voice of the Dolphins Stadium, and everybody. He's just saying like he's hearing around the building. Like everybody just loves McCoachin. Just loves
solid,
him,
man.
Like he's just a good dude.
It's good vibes.
He is good vibes.
Well, you know what? It all matters when they start playing games.
That's true. Will people say he's good vibes if they start 1-3?
Question.
Yeah.
Does he have to have a better record than Brian Flores?
The first year? Yeah, I would say so. I think there's a lot of pressure on this team.
Okay.
I do think there's a lot of pressure
because
on this team.
It's a more talented team.
I don't want it to be that way,
but
based on what the organization did and how they did it and how it just came randomly out of the blue, right? You can't get rid of a coach that has given you 2 winning records in a row for the first time in 20 years and replace him with a guy and start that process over.
Well, here's the thing that's interesting about it, right? Like it's when you hear all this Tom Brady and Sean Payton stuff coming out and this lawsuit that Flores kind of set it all ablaze. Now it's interesting looking back and saying, well, we all thought it was crazy that they did fire him back-to-back winning. Look, I know there's going to be a lot of Dolphins. Oh, he was a jerk. Oh, Tua was miserable. Listen, we talked about this. We've talked this up and down. We thought that he did Tua wrong, that he wasn't supportive of him. They left that the organization left Tua out to dry. I agree with you on that. However, back-to-back winning seasons, guy was built a defensive menace. We cannot disagree with this. This guy can coach.
Because of how he was treating one player, it was very difficult to overlook that and look at the fact that the team was getting better.
Yeah.
And what I mean? Because the most important position he didn't necessarily have a good relationship with.
Right.
And they were winning, so we just figured, okay, just give it more time.
Yeah, he was not a perfect coach.
The organization said no.
He was not a perfect coach, but he's 3 years into his career. Like it's not like this is a guy who was early on to it. But when you hear that, well, they were gonna fire him, and seemingly the plan was to bring in Sean Payton with Tom Brady, which may have been because Tom Brady didn't want Flores to be his coach because apparently it seems Flores snubbed him. That's just my theory. You know, Flores didn't want to tamper with him in the first place. So Tom Brady's like, well, I don't want Flores as my coach. Get me somebody but I'm only going to come if it's a big time guy. Get me Sean Payton. Once that's all
tampering, though?
According to Flores, it was. That's what he put in the lawsuit.
But Tom Brady was available.
I think at the time he wasn't, and that's what Flores claimed, that he didn't want to tamper. That's what he put in the lawsuit.
See, I don't know how to.
But the thing that I find odd about it, right?
Because he's making it sound like the reason why he got fired is because he felt uncomfortable with doing something his boss wanted him to do.
Yeah, it's a weird thing because, like, for a guy to have that much love for a guy like Ryan Fitzpatrick, why wouldn't he want a proven guy like Tom Brady, right? Originally, doesn't make sense. Like, if they had no patience for Tua. And
the one thing that I will say about what a guy like Tom Brady does, right? He comes in and he gets a level of respect that even the coach doesn't get.
True.
And so I could understand how Bruce Arians could do it because he's been coaching for a long time. But if you have a new coach, if you have a coach that has just started being a head coach, would that interaction become more difficult?
Would there have been
even if you're having success?
Do you think there was anything also to Flores? Because think about this: like nobody thought Tom Brady was going to come to the Bucs and win a championship right away. Do you think there was a part of Flores who's just coming from the Patriots who thought he was washed? Like the idea that if he was in the coaching staff with Belichick,
I could understand that if anybody on that staff would think, that Tom Brady was done because they probably had the conversation and they all came to that conclusion.
Yeah. So but getting to your point, whatever the reasons are that we got here, right?
We're here now.
We're here now.
Go backwards.
And they put a team this year. I do think that for all of this lawsuit, the Tom Brady thing blowing up, I do feel like the Dolphins, for the most part, the vibe I get from the fan base is they're all very excited. They're excited to have Tyreek Hill. They're excited to have Teron Armstead on the offensive line.
Right.
They like the head coach. The whole defense got brought back, and everybody's dying to see what Tua can be under better circumstances. But yes, I do think there is a lot of pressure on this team.
See, I don't even look at it as pressure, right? I look more of it as you have in the last 2 years been on a certain trajectory. And that trajectory needs to continue, because if it goes down and we have to start over in some way, shape, or form, then I think the organization takes the heat for that, not the players, because they were in a position where they were on that trajectory of getting better every year. I just wish, the only thing I didn't like about Brian Flores is this. It's unfair to everybody involved to have a predetermined idea of what a player is going to be without actually seeing if he could do it. Yeah. Because some players do things totally different. Some players aren't the guys that do things how you've seen it done before. And before I go ahead on and say he can't be my quarterback because he doesn't watch film or do this or do that, let me give him support and see. Because here, once Flores does what he does with Tua, if that's the way he felt, and he felt that Tua shouldn't be doing as much extracurricular activity, he's put himself in a spot where now he can't go talk to Tua.
Right. Like, if you're going to have this whole thing, like, there were reports that he told Tua in the preseason that they were going after Deshaun Watson. But once everything is going on with Deshaun Watson, it's not going to happen.
At some point, you got to just say, all right, you're a guy. We're going to put all our support in you. They never did that. Look, the hardest thing in the world, people think, the hardest thing in the world is to go on the field and not be able to relax and play because of the circumstance you have on the sideline and with your own organization. Whether it's money, whether it's other players, whether it's a situation, whether it's protection. And the fact that last year would have been Tua's first healthy year, right? The fact that he could determine, based on all the stuff we've heard about Tua, based on all the things we've seen, based on just a little bit that we saw the first 2 years, right? For him to make the determination that can't get better and be more productive in the NFL is unfair to everybody.
The idea here, Marcos.
The Ticket is the home of every Miami Heat game. WAXY South Miami and WSFS New Miramar, an Odyssey station.
The headlines here brought to you by the new Palmetto Ford Truck Super Center. Why buy your truck at a car store? Palmetto Ford, we know trucks. Marlins lost to the Phillies yesterday afternoon, 3-1. Garrett
Meatball!
Stanley Cup Finals, the Avalanche beat the Lightning 4-3 in overtime. Tonight is Game 6 of the NBA Finals. Celtics hosting the Warriors. They are down 3-2 in that series. So Steph Curry and them boys will look to close it out tonight. And Stinka Fitzpatrick, he was a former safety for the Dolphins. He now signs the biggest deal for a safety in NFL history with the Pittsburgh Steelers. So good for Minka, I guess, and he gets to hang out with his guy, Flo.